Thank you, thank you. The visionary was new. That text didn't came from us. So yeah, I'm Marc. I'm co-founder and creative director of Studio Schultzschultz. Thank you for inviting me. It's a big honor to speak here. And I'm not sure if I'm at the right conference because most of the things I show don't use like conventional fonts or export conventional fonts. And I'm rather sloppy with the word or with the use of the word type. Type is everything for me that is like displayed text, so please be kind. Me and my business partner, Ole, we started the studio in 2007, and the first years we did a lot of design for electronic music labels, record sleeves you see here, we designed over the years. And in techno music, you can actually hear the computer as the instrument, and we like that idea very much, and we wanted to translate this to our graphic design. So, driven by the ideas of minimalism and individualism, and we wanted to be authentic, we started drawing our own letter forms, doing lettering and our own typefaces, and also experimented with something that's called today creative coding. I started this very early, and we applied this to our design. So I will show you some of our projects that feature these two elements: code or programming and type or lettering, whatever, letters. So the first part is focusing on type that is created from code. You all know that this is an early form of writing, and the tool that is used and the material are actually defining the form. So every type designer knows about this fact. And we wondered, how does the computer as a tool influence the form of typography or of the letters? So for an exhibition, many years ago, we were asked to do a free work, and we designed or we created these letter forms by using code, and we connected them to some devices to get a feel for something that is so abstract and it's not tangible actually because it's digital. And we thought that this could somehow be the look of the computer in typography. So this started a process that led to many other works, and I will show you this evolution from this free project. Let me tell you something about the way we work. A conventional design process looks like this. You have an idea, basic concept, then you choose some tools and you start designing, and eventually you will end up with some final design. And early on we learned for us that it's much more interesting for us to include the tool making process in this design process. So for example, this is the evolution of a tool. Left part is from this exhibition, and the right one is already an evolution because we could change the letters and we could transform, manipulate the letters with the same device. And so what happens here is a process of going back and forth, iterative development, we call that. Step by step, we learn how to use a tool and at the same time refine or reprogram the tool to our needs. So we try to hit a sweet spot between usability and flexibility here. Next step, creating new letters and moving them. It's the same tool, just evolved. We already had a digital lettering tool, so we could make real layouts with this, like digital typography. Next step, repeating the letters is a great help if you want to design patterns. And by the way, you also see the evolution, new game pads like PS4, PS5. Yeah, it gets much more modern along the way. These are some examples, print examples made with this tool. Next version, we used a multi-touch interface with also visual interface to manipulate these letters, and programmed it in a P5 so we could share it with others. And it runs on a tablet and a phone, and you can, these are some silly experiments with rasterizing and physics over there, like motion control. And you could test it, everyone can test it for free, it's on our website. It's called ISType. And it runs directly in the browser, so if you use like an iPad, you can experience this multi-touch interface. And it's basically open source because it's P5, so if you know how to download the code, you can also change the code and use it and maybe evolve it into something else. This is actually something, some guy, I don't know who did this, but it was a serious work. Here you see the dirt on the iPad. Somebody used our tool and created this beautiful lettering here. And it looks so much different from what we did with the tool. So great experience of sharing tools is that other designers use the same tools, creating something totally different, something personally and very unique. Kind of a spin-off project is already the second project, different color. We like the raw and undefined look of the coded letters, and so we decided to create a typeface. It's called stroke weight, which is the name of the function to set the thickness of a line in processing, which is the programming language we used. And so we decided to have two design principles. The one is that it's strictly geometrical, which looks awful for type designs, I know that. But I like if a concept kind of forces me to decide something. And so this was the decision made. And the second decision was that the corners of this centerline constructions are either in the state of meter, which is this one, or bevel, which is this one. There's only a third that is rounded because it's very easy to describe this in code, and so these are the two options. But we didn't want to round it in this project. Obviously, we wanted the design of a single vector path, kind of fake it, but we had to create, if it's, this is actually a font, retail font, you can buy it. We had to use these outline shapes, and so we also kind of optically a little bit corrected some things, but not very much. A typeface is available as a variable typeface and slanted from -12 degrees to +12 degrees. And since there are orthogonally cut off stems and not oriented, the stems are not cut off on the baseline, they work very well if rotated or placed somewhere floating in space. That's why the character set is set like this. These are some, you can also buy OpenType fonts. I think it's like 45 of them. These are some examples of the design space, so slanting and weight axis. And as I said, that it's kind of hard for type designer's eye. It's very geometrical. It's maybe the most geometrical typeface of the world. Always wanted to say that. And if you go in, it's getting harder. But if you go out, we had this effect today already. It kind of loses these details that make it so awkward, and I think the rhythm works in print even better than here on the screen. So it's actually usable. And I always like this quote by Marilyn Monroe. I think it applies very much to this typeface. So the next project, it was a commissioned work. A design company called Atelier Markgraf asked us to develop a new logo and a corporate typeface. And their former logo was handwriting, a lot of handwriting put on top of each other, so it was unreadable. And they liked the idea that the new logo is interactive and it's not using the handwriting, but the human voice. So we programmed the logo, and since the logo was programmed to react to the voice, it's all, again, center line. And we had this idea of ligne claire, so all sizes of the typeface should look the same line weight, and so we had to design optical sizes. I think this idea will be addressed too today, some more. And yeah, this is the typeface, and here we had the rounded corners. It was necessary for the wild movement of the logo to make this work, and so the logo actually decided, it was developed before they commissioned us to do the corporate typeface, decided that this would be a geometric, rounded sans serif typeface. So this is, I think, small size, optical size from 6 point to 72. I think we had like 12 sizes they used in their communication. So every size in their printed matter had their own style. And they also wanted the bold. So we didn't want too thick rounded stems, and we just extruded them so they have the same radius, but just extruded. Yeah, that's how it looks. Okay, so next part, playground. We spent about 20% of our work time on no brief projects. So we experiment usually on Fridays, and we do a lot of really small, fun experiments like this. Very simple code, just make a selection of a pixel image and repeat it. This is almost real time. So you can, of course, do this with Photoshop, but it makes a huge difference. I don't have to tell this to type designers. It makes a difference how fast you work. It's just something else. If you can do something in seconds and not in minutes or in days. And so we always tried also to follow this idea of what's natural to a computer. So it's obviously copy-paste in any form. This is only copy-paste, 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 but we get very interesting results, and it's real fun to play with these tools. Of course, these are applied to photographs, but some of the tools, this is also very fun. You just paint with a pixel color from the live camera view on an iPad. But here you see an example. It's the same tool. You can use it to create funny faces, but also some ransom letter here on the right side. Next example, also same tool applied to a photograph, but also it's possible to experiment with letter forms. And very important, all these tools are very simple to use. Sometimes just a drawing tool that simulates a multicolor pen or a spray can in a certain way. And this is silly. It moves, the paper is moved while you draw. You know, we did this in primary school to annoy our classmates, but actually now the program does this for me. So you have to adapt your writing, it's fun. Okay, so yeah, again, experiments here with the tools. Oh, sorry, skip one. This is more advanced. We analyze font data, and the Bezier curves are kind of categorized, so corners and aligned on-curve, off-curve points move in a certain way, and so we create these behaviors that we then use for real-time animation. It's funny because I cannot work for one day on an animation with keyframes, but I can work for 2 weeks on a program that animates my type live, and it's, I don't know, maybe I should talk to my therapist about that, but I very much prefer the process of creating something that then, as a tool or as a machine, produces something, even if I only use it once, which is kind of the usual way we use it, only once. Okay, so these are devices. It's a lot of stuff. You can watch this on our Instagram account. We publish all these experiments. But you see, it doesn't have to be very difficult to write a certain code. This code, for example, I posted as a reply on a comment on Instagram before Christmas, because it was so simple that you just could copy it into your processing text field and run it, and you can create really beautiful stuff with this. Most people use it for cat photographs, but you can also set text with that. Some more advanced examples of animation and layout. We use physics that are actually programmed for computer games or filters, or we experimented with a gravity to simulate calligraphy strokes. Doesn't really work, but it looks actually a little bit like calligraphy. Or some machines, layout machines that already animate while you set the text. As I said, it should be simple, it should be fast, so you are forced to work intuitively, not think too much about how you use the tool. We think when we invent or develop the tool, but you should use it in an instant. It should be really, really fast, like this. This is real time. So you can create very colorful, bright, moving images, and it's just click and drag. One gesture, like using a pen, actually. Sometimes we get carried away, and I hope you hear the sound. That's Super Mario. And yeah, you recognize the tool. We placed it on platforms, used the gamepad, but it's an interesting way of setting text and doing lettering. So, and sometimes it's not even readable anymore. That actually says jump and run. And at some point, I'm so annoyed by this engine, I just start again, yeah. So, but sometimes it's more serious. This, for example, is a simple tool that allows you to use 2 fingers to simulate broadnib writing. Yeah, a lot of examples what we do, but I want to show you 2 or 3 more projects in detail. This is now the part where the type doesn't come from the code, but type or digital fonts are closely intertwined with the code. So the code makes no sense without a certain typeface, and the typeface doesn't really make sense without the code. For the Museum of Modern Electronic Music, we were commissioned to develop a interactive logo. Makes totally sense if you have this logo in the space and there's always playing music, electronic music, in the Museum of Electronic Music. So this should change with the sound. Sound works. This was an issue in the coffee break. I'm so relieved. Yeah. So you see the logo is actually an equalizer displaying the volumes of the different bands, and to make this happen we needed a particular font. Every letter of this custom-made font needed to have two masters. So to get this change in gray value, we had to extend certain parts of the letter, and these obviously make sense, but the thing is we also needed a monospace font, and monospace letters usually use horizontal bars to fill the white space to make, or it's like pseudo serifs to make narrow letters wide, and they also work for this project very well. And for upper and ascenders and descenders letters, we filled this white space. Letters should be uppercase letters. I don't remember why, but they needed to be transformed a little more to get this very dark gray value. So this is the letter set for the display font, and it's animated again. And the cool thing about this is when we developed this, it's actually a type engine. So this doesn't work in InDesign and After Effects. This is a particular program, but for exhibitions they wanted a lot of social media content, so it was possible to just enter text and then, you know, turn up the volume and very easily, very quickly produce social media content, which is always nice for the client because they don't have big budgets. It's a museum, so they are happy about having a lot of social media content. But you can also, because it's vector-based, you can also export SVG or vectors to print merge. So next project, it's also sound reactive. It's for a hip hop group called Short Attention Span.
All we really got is seconds. I'd like to ask you, no short attention span. Just for the record, this is professional. Thoughts come out the pen.
So again, this is not animated, it animates itself. It's a little more advanced than the example before because the letters actually know where they are. So the letters in the first line, maybe you recognize, they extend to the top and the last line to the bottom because they don't want to overlap. Yeah, so every and this is live. I typed this live and just recorded it from the screen. That's actually something we like to do very much, not programming it, playing like live music. So we do this, we record it, and if there's a typo, my bad. Have to do it again. So, or if the client wants some change, that's always big discussion. So this is the typeface we created, and every letter, uppercase alphabet, every letter needed, of course, 4 different states, like this. And they are also smart because they listen by random, they listen to different parts of the sound. So, for example, like hi-hats. Hi-hat or snare is triggering this movement. Yeah, you get the idea. And I was told by my business partner Ole, he's an electronic music producer, and he told me, it's not a bass, it's a kick drum. You have to say kick drum. And I said, no, the A looks good. Kick drum has no A in it, so sorry.
I'm thinking all the things that I want to picture, only in my mind I figured out that I got all the time in the world. I'm thinking.
This was also live recorded. We just read the lyrics from the text file, and then, you know, like just pushing the space bar, we changed the line of the text. So this is a little bit like playing the music. Okay, so last I want to give you a quick sneak peek of 2 unfinished projects we're working on at the moment. The first one I signed an NDA, so I cannot really say the name of the company and show some final stuff, but the idea was this is an international design company, and the idea was to develop a web-based tool to generate static and animated typography. The letters should evoke some emotion. So, for example, happiness or excitement. And we combined various techniques we showed earlier to achieve these really dramatic transformations. And it's much more extreme what happens here than what is possible with variable fonts or path transformations alone. So we combine these 2 things, but it works directly on the vector shape. So happy people. And wait a second. Behind the scenes. Yeah, there you see actually the Bezier curves that are drawn. So it's real time, it's live, it's vector based, so we could export this as SVG for different purposes, also PNGs of course, and MP4 animations. Oh, sorry, I have to go back. There are different settings. The first example was rounded. This one is obviously not rounded, looks kind of scary, strange. And a very, very challenging part in this project was that it needed to work with existing fonts because this company has offices in Korea and in China, and so all the effects needed to be applied to Hangul and Chinese characters and Arabic, but we're not finished with that yet. It's the most challenging because it's connected and we have to kind of on the fly combine all these. But it works. just doesn't really look that good now, but it works. It will look good. So upcoming project, last project, I don't know what my time says, but I hope I don't do overtime. That's good, that's good. So the last project is a concept that is dating back to my time in art school. There's the first time I wrote some code doing this. It's again centerline, and it's with a nod to Ulrike. It's simulating handwriting, but in a computerish way. So we're using Bezier curves because I learned Bezier curves, they transform in a aesthetic way compared to other path descriptions in the computer. So. Yeah, you can create basic letter forms. That's what you have in mind if you're trying to write something by hand. It could be connected or print letters. And the cool thing, it's not that cool because that, of course, is possible already in Cliffs. You can change the metrics live and change the form, and beside this text box there are settings to change, of course, the basic features like size and stroke weight. As I said, this has nothing to do with font technology. This is just letters, but you can set text with it and you can export it. So it's experimental and it's kind of fun. And you see that here you have all possibilities. And the lower part of the settings is for randomization. So what Ulrike described in her presentation, that it needs to have this kind of inconsistency, or the precision cannot be too high, so it needs to, in music you would say it has to groove, you know? If a beat is too exact, it doesn't groove. And that's the same with handwriting, even if it's print letters. So, yeah. There are some default alphabets we already designed, but this will be a tool available by the end of this year on our website, so everyone can create their own character sets and start tuning them. So these are all examples from this handful of basic letter sets. It's really fun because from the same letters you get a huge variety of looks here. Not very readable. This one is better. This one works for some alternative music, record sleeve maybe. This for Men in Black. Yeah. So this is really fun, and all these examples I did on Thursday in, I think, 15 minutes. So it's again, it's really quick, and it invites you to experiment because it's not much work involved, and that's not much work involved on that part. So that's something we like. Yeah, it goes on and on. I'm sorry, I didn't check. It's 2 more. That's it. Thank you.